I'm Michael.
Hello, everybody. A few hours ago, I was in the middle of an incredibly difficult day at work, as usual. And this always makes me dream back to another time when work was really different. Years ago, I thought I had a really challenging job as a reporter at People magazine. But compared with jobs now, it was nothing. Like, for instance, when we did some hard work for a few hours, like chatting with Andy Warhol on the phone, or having tea with Boy George, we had to give ourselves a break. So we'd go out to lunch and have 2 or 3 salty margaritas, and then we'd head back to our office sofas and lie down and take a little nap, because we were tired. After about 6 years of this grueling ordeal, I felt that I needed a much bigger treat. And so I decided to take advantage of a type of corporate perk that was extremely common back then, but no one speaks about it today. It's called a sabbatical. I had a very clear goal in mind. I would take 6 months off of work, and I would be a world-famous writer. Now, instead of kissing up to celebrities, this would make me a celebrity, which makes a lot of sense because celebrities get their salty margaritas without having to work at all, and so it would be a lot easier. As it happens, many of my college friends had a similar goal. They had all gone out to LA to write spec scripts for TV shows. To me, this seemed incredibly lowbrow. I mean, you know, one of my friends went out to LA and he ended up writing for a cartoon. And when he told me the name of the show, I was like, is that ever lame? I mean, no one is going to watch a cartoon called The Simpsons. So I chose a path with more potential for fame and fortune. I think some of you probably have guessed what this is. I'm talking about writing plays. Of course, I hadn't written any plays, and actually I don't think I'd even read any plays, but I decided to honor several playwriting programs with my application to their program. Even today, I can't figure out what was wrong with those people. I got rejection after rejection after rejection, and I thought, oh shit, I'm going to have to go to LA. But then a letter arrived from the theater festival. I've been accepted to their 4-week program for just $2,000. Now, I know that was a lot of dough, but fame and fortune was waiting. So when I got to San Francisco, which was so much cooler than LA, I discovered a few things, such as, actually, the festival was in a place called Marin, which is sort of like the Scarsdale of San Francisco. And I had a 95-minute drive each way in a bus to get there. Every day I had to tell the bus driver, I had to hail him and get him to stop at a place called Lucky Drive. And I would walk 1 mile through a marsh, go under the highway, and come out, climb up to where my classes were held in a high school. I was very excited to meet my teacher, who informed us right away that he had written many plays that had been performed in a theater outside Milwaukee. Most of his plays were about one subject. He was very interested in prostitutes during the Korean War. So when I did sort of writing exercises, he would say, imagine your characters to be sort of like a prostitute in the Korean War. Now, this was a little awkward because I was writing a play about neurotic East Village roommates. But in any case, I got lots of personal attention because there were only 4 other students in the class. They were weirdly obedient and quiet, and they were almost seemed like they went into some sort of trance when he gave us a class on writing with precision, and he mentioned every detail of every exotic sex toy in a Korean whorehouse. Now, as useful as this was, I knew that there was a seminar for advanced students, and of course, I felt I should be in it. So I went to the festival director to try to talk my way in. When I got to her office, she practically sobbed with joy. She just was like, I am so glad to see you. I have such great news. Maury Himmelman is coming. Maury Himmelman. I can't wait till you meet him. After his lecture, we're having a reception. You're the only student that I'm going to invite. I was like, okay, cool. This is what I came for, some respect. Now, I'd never heard of Maury Himmelman, but it seemed like a good moment to mention the advanced class, so I did. And the festival director paused for a minute. She went, oh, well, after reading your writing samples, I think that your class is probably at the right level for you. So you just stay in that class, and when Maury Himmelman gets here, everything will be perfect. So I went back, bit the bullet, went back to the Korean prostitutes for 3 more weeks. And while I was there, I did a little research into Maury Himmelman, and I found out that he was actually a famous avant-garde theater director. So I was pretty excited. For the big day came, I printed out my play with a special cover, you know, special paper, special font and ink, like not any mistakes on it, brought it with me to the show. What I didn't know before his lecture is that Maury Himmelman had suffered a major stroke a few years earlier, making it virtually impossible for him to speak. But this did not stop him. He had the old showbiz spirit, and he spoke to us for a grueling 73 minutes without one intelligible word. So I started to worry a little bit, like, when I meet him, am I going to understand what he's saying to me? So I go to the reception. When I walk in, the festival director says, Michael, thank God you're here. Maury's waiting for you. He's over there. You got to go see him. And she says, isn't he brilliant? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. And she says, okay, you two take care of business. You two just talk amongst yourselves. I got to go over there and do some business. I'll be back in a minute. So there we are for 10 whole minutes. And I don't understand a word that he said. When the festival director comes back, I've never been more happy to see anybody in my entire life. And she said, so, is everything all settled? And I was like, I'm not sure. And she said, well, isn't it obvious? I told Maury that you were a reporter for People magazine and that you were going to do a big story about him. I paid $2,000 for a lousy story pitch. I was so mad. I got out of there as soon as I could. I wanted to leave San Francisco that minute. But I felt an obligation to the other students to go back to the class the next morning. So I went back to class where we all read our best scenes, and you know, I was really impressed by this one student who, it was really a great scene. So I said to him afterwards, you know, maybe could we stay in touch so I can learn about your production, so maybe I can come see your play when it's put on. And he said, oh, I don't think my play will get put on until I'm out of school. And I said, you're still in school and you got into the Playwrights Festival? That's amazing. I am so impressed. Where do you go to school? And he said, here. And I said, but this is a high school. You don't go here. And he said, no, I do. I go there. I was like, you're brilliant. You're a genius. You're in high school and you got into the Playwrights Festival? And he looked at me kind of funny. And then he said to me, didn't you know? We're all in high school. Except you. So I went back to New York, and I worked on that fucking play. I completed it, and I thought, I'll show you who's in high school. East Village is hot. No one has ever written a play about neurotic artists in the East Village. I am going to be rich and famous. Salty margaritas for me. And I was so excited that I convinced my friend Jane to produce it at CBGB, famous East Village nightclub. And the night after the opening, the New York Times, this is true, ran a rave review with huge, huge stuff about the East Village. Unfortunately, this was not a review of my by the course of lucky drive, on the very day that my play opened, another play opened on Broadway. It was called Rent. You've heard of it. So, I went back a week later to work without fame, without fortune. And later that year, I got a call from someone who'd gone to my college who wanted to meet me to talk about jobs. So he came in and he sat down and he said, I have a difficult decision, I don't know what to do. He said, I got two offers. One is to be a fact checker at Time Magazine. The other is, it's pretty risky, but I could go out to LA and I could write a spec script for a TV show. I jumped out of my seat and I said, you get off my fucking office sofa. You get out that door, you get on that fucking plane, you get to fucking LA, you write that fucking spec script, and you do not stop to get dinner on the way to the airport. Do you hear me? As he left my office, he looked like an American sailor being chased down an alley by a crazy Korean prostitute. As it happens, that kid's name was Greg Daniels. When he got to LA, he wrote a little cartoon called King of the Hill. He then went on to write a few little TV shows called, I don't know, The Office and Parks and Recreation. So I didn't need any stinking sabbatical. It took me 5 minutes to enable fame and fortune. And you can bow to me as I pass.